welcome to Thinking Outside the Pod, episode 65.
65. I guess since I wasn't here last week, that's what, 2 more than 63? I didn't get to do my math last week. I know. Oh, man.
You just spring those questions on me. I got to have time to research.
Oh, no, there's 2. What is this 2? We've only been dealing with ones
the
last several episodes.
But, 64. Were you there, or was it just
no?
me?
I think it was you and Patrick, because I was off last weekend.
I can't remember what we talked about, but we talked.
I don't remember either. I wasn't here.
We talked about things.
Things. All right. Good enough.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey,
so
isn't that what we always do? Anyway.
Exactly. Literally, that's exactly.
Hey, that's
what podcasts are.
That's what a podcast is. We talk about stuff,
things and stuff,
or maybe subjects. I don't know. Whatever you want to call them.
If not stuff, things. If not things, topics.
Sure.
all the things that podcasts do. But this episode, we're kind of going to keep it a little shorter, but I think a good news story came out. Simon Pegg.
Shaun of the Dead.
Shaun of the Dead,
for those of you guys who don't know. The
Hot Fuzz. He was Scotty in Star Trek.
Yeah,
so
the newer ones, yeah.
He's a big name in nerd culture.
Sure.
And he had an interview with a magazine or a internet site or something, and he made a comment that kind of, the internet's kind of just like, what?
Yeah.
But essentially, it's saying that nerd culture is dumbing down popular culture. It's that's what it boils down to.
It's essentially, we were talking about it a little bit ago, and that's more or less.
It's saying audience are being, I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right, infantilizing. It's making us more childish.
Yeah.
The superhero and the genre science fiction blockbuster movies that have been coming out. I mean, I guess pretty steadily for the last few years.
Yeah, definitely. A lot more steadily over the last couple of years.
What do you think about that? What I can see his point, but
we were talking about this earlier, and he does have a point to a certain extent. Like from the comment, it sounded like he just generalized like everything. Like if he said for everything, I'd definitely say not true.
Mm-hmm.
But he does have some point for certain things. Because like we were talking about earlier, the comic book movies and stuff like that. Yeah, like they're kind of cookie cutter. I mean, when you look at the target audience, isn't the people who like well thought out movies.
Mm-hmm.
It's, like you're saying, popcorn flicks.
Yeah,
that's what that's the target audience. It's younger audiences about our age and
and
early teens or whatever.
The thing with those, the popcorn blockbuster, turn off your mind to just enjoy the movie.
Yeah,
those movies have been around forever. I mean, you always have like the dumb action movies that have really nothing to say other than like, look at these explosions.
Well, because I mean, it's one of those of like when you look at it, the types of movies really haven't changed that much. Like there hasn't been like also some sort of new genre that's just been dumbing down. I mean, yes, the comic book movies have been becoming more and more popular.
Mm-hmm.
Like with like Spider-Man and like Dark Knight and stuff were kind of the movies that really got those going.
Mm-hmm.
But still, I mean, there's still a lot of smart nerd stuff out there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and you just have to look for it, and you just have to because like one of my prime examples is on a Cartoon Network. They have a cartoon show called The Regular Show.
I've not watched it, but I have heard.
It's an amazing show. If you guys have not seen it, go watch it. Even if you're like, oh, it's a cartoon on Cartoon Network, it's for kids and stuff. You're like, yeah, it is a cartoon geared towards kids. However, like 99% of their references are all like 80s references. So like stuff that for little kids will not have any idea what the hell they're talking about. They just go, haha, the bird and the whatever. I can't remember what
raccoon or something.
I can't remember what the hell he is.
They're saying those words funny.
Yeah, they're talking about like the best VHS in the world, and you're like, wait, they're. I'm
kids,
like, okay,
kids don't know what
fun.
that is.
And they're just making, all sorts of 80s references. And I mean, I'm like, that's awesome.
Well, I mean, it's our generation writing that stuff now.
And what's cool is it makes what could have been a completely stupid show extremely watchable for adults, because you're like, I get what they're talking about. I remember all that old stuff,
And there's nothing wrong with watching that kind of stuff.
Sure.
I mean, you're not going to get like Simon Pegg was saying, you're not going to get complex theories or anything out of it, but it's good entertainment.
Sure.
There's nothing wrong with just watching something for the sake of it being good or funny or something like that.
Yeah.
You don't always need like the Citizen Kane's or whatever art movies that people say are complex and things like that.
See, the funny part is it is kind of hypocritical because you look at the kind of movies that he's made, and you're like, I mean, yeah, they do have a little bit of intelligence to them, but you're like, come on, they're still stupid ass movies, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Like it's some of the comments are like, why are you biting the hand that feeds you? Like he's like the god of nerd culture. Like everything he's done has been nerdy or.
Sure. I mean, he's been partaking in the very things that he's saying is bad for us. And you're like, well, what the hell, man? You know, I mean, like, yes, you have a bit of a point, but however, you know, there is still some of those gems.
Yeah.
It's just unfortunately now people, you know, aren't really searching for those gems. They just want, you know, the same old stuff again.
And he's saying that a lot of the people that are watching those movies are caring more about those movies than like the world events, and I do see that because I do enjoy those movies, and I don't really care about world events. Like he was like the British elections or earthquakes in parts of the world. I don't really follow that. I mean, I understand the importance and the devastation that stuff has, but well,
my question is, has that really changed over the last years? I mean, like, you know,
that's true.
Because the biggest point that I could see for that, though, is not necessarily not the content, because that content, type of content has been around forever. I mean, ever since we started making, you know, somebody's made stupid movies and stuff like that. Like, it's been around for forever.
Yeah.
I don't think necessarily the content is what's dumbing down people. I think it's the fact that we have infinite access to information.
Yeah.
And what are we going to do with that infinite access to information? We're going to find out stuff that entertains us.
Yeah.
And what entertains us? Stupid shit.
Yeah. We want to see the strong good guy punching the bad guy.
Yeah, I mean that's what we like. I mean it's feel good stuff. You're like, yeah, you know, you feel empowered. It feels awesome. I mean that's the purpose of it, is to, you know, to entertain. And you know, when you look at like world events and stuff like that, you're like, unless it applies directly to you and will affect you, you know, I hate to say it, it's, you know, a lot of people are probably like, why should I care? You know, why do I care about the British elections? You know, because like Scotland had a bunch of recent elections.
Yeah, they recently legalized gay marriage there.
Yeah.
By a popular vote. First country to do that, and good.
Yeah, great on them.
Great on them. And I mean, but really doesn't really affect us here. And I know that's kind of. I guess it's like what he's saying. It's kind of like just a young way of thinking that nothing in the world affects you, so why care about it?
Sure.
But I think it's always been like that. I mean, maybe in the old days when there wasn't so much stuff to distract you from that stuff.
Yeah.
It may have been less of a problem.
Sure.
Now, because we have the internet and we can see anything at any time, it's at least more known.
Sure.
But I think it's always been an issue, just people just not caring, or at least the younger generations not caring about the world events. I don't know.
I mean, it's one of those. Yeah, I mean, it's just this. It's an odd thing. I mean, I think it's definitely the internet. You know, because, you know, kind of along that same line, kind of an interesting conversation I had with a coworker back in Houston. This was around a time where there was a bunch of, I think, if I remember right, the context of it was there was a whole bunch of stories like back to back of like teachers having, you know, sexual relations with kids and stuff like that. And, you know, they kind of made the comment of, you know, I wonder if, you know, is there an increase in like the sexual type of, you know, stuff going on? You know, and my comment was I don't necessarily think so. I think we're just we know about it now because we have access to that information now.
Yeah.
I don't, you know, it could be more. I don't know. You know, I haven't seen the statistics. I don't have any actual basis off of it. But I definitely think now that we have the internet, we have more access to that information. So it's definitely going to be, we're going to know about it a lot quicker.
Definitely, at least we know about it more these days.
Yeah.
It could have been happening a lot back then, and just that information just stayed local and just didn't get dispersed or get.
Or you'd have to go to, you know, a news station or whatever. Like you'd have to broadcast it. Like you know, like going back to the dumbing us down. Like now, all you have to do is you pull out your phone, you Google it real quick, and hey, there you go. There's your information. Before, you actually had to go out and seek the information. You had to go to a library. You had to go, you know, you had to go talk to somebody who knew what the hell they're talking about. You know, there was very few ways to get that information out. I mean, you had radio, television, you know, that kind of stuff. But nowadays, I mean, like
nothing like the
your
internet.
darn watch does it nowadays. I mean, it's just, you know, you have so much access to the information. And now that we have that unlimited access to information, it's like, yeah, I don't want to know anymore because it's like, well, it's there. You know, I can find it whenever I want to.
Yeah.
You know, now it's not as important for me to find it quickly.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it has kind of dumbed us down a little bit.
Yeah. Well, yes.
It's I guess the Wall-E effect where it's slowly making. Yeah, every time we make life easier for us, that makes it for less for us to do.
Yeah, and I if it gets to like Wall-E size problems, yes, that is a problem. But I think making lives easier isn't that bad.
Yeah,
of course, but you do get that.
It sounds like I'm saying it's a bad thing. I love technology. I'm a huge fan of technology. Don't. Yes, I think it's probably one of the worst things for me to really be into. But still, however, I still love it. So I'm not saying technology's bad, like fear technology and stuff like that. But still, yeah. I mean, to be quite blunt, yeah, it is dumbing us
like
down.
we know. I mean, yes, we like this newfangled thing, and we know that it's not necessarily the best for us.
Yeah.
But it's still cool, and
sure, I'm still gonna have fun with it.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, use it or whatever.
I think it's just because the negative information about this stuff is more accessible and more the broadcasting is more broad now.
Sure.
I think that's why a lot of like the older generations are like hating on the younger generations.
Sure.
I think that's the reason. I think all this bad stuff, maybe to a lesser extent because of technology or whatnot, still happened back then.
Yeah.
But now that everyone knows about everything,
it's not as broadcasted. Yeah.
It's making us look bad. I don't like that. I know there's nothing I can really do about it or anything the younger generation can do about it. But anytime older generations say that, I'm just like,
it's like,
no, you guys aren't golden gods in the past that never did any wrong. It's just that now there's means for everyone to know our mistakes.
Sure.
And
it's much easier to get out to everybody. And unfortunately, people are stupid enough to put it on like YouTube and Facebook every day. And you're like, why are you doing stupid stuff? Why are you posting pictures of you breaking the law? That doesn't seem like a good idea to me.
That is definitely a bad byproduct. Like the stupidity of the.
But even without the internet, those guys would probably be the ones to get caught anyway. They would probably be the guys who go like, I'm gonna go drive by the police station or something and be like, I stole stuff.
And I mean,
stupid. Who knows?
Criminals. I mean, I guess in large part are not the smartest people anyway. So yes, even back then,
it depends.
Yes, I say in large part. I know there are.
There's some
there's
some
really smart criminals, especially with technology these days. But back then there were still dumb criminals. Like I watched this one show called QI. It's a British comedy panel show.
Okay.
And they talked about the Great Train Robbery.
Okay.
And there in Britain there was these group of thieves that went out and robbed the train.
Okay.
Didn't steal a train. There was money on a train that it was
like the old-fashioned robbery where they had like the bandito mask and they'd go with the guns and they'd run the horses. I mean, I know I'm over-exaggerating, but to give you a much better picture than probably what actually happened.
Yeah, exactly. But what they did, they stopped the train and there was this one person that was supposed to get a cut of the pay just to find a person that can drive a train.
Yeah.
And they got there and the guy's like, I can't drive that. And so it was like the one thing that guy was supposed to do, he can't do. And then they all got caught later on because they all like went to a safe house and like played Monopoly with like the stolen money, like and left fingerprints everywhere. All of them got caught, and it was just sensationalized in the media. So it was like the Great Train Robbery, but really they were just
a bunch of idiots
who kind of lucked out
caught.
and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So like even back then, but just no one knows about that stuff anymore. But nowadays you hear the people that like they like the police post about them like breaking the law and then they get caught like the next day or like that day.
Something silly.
You hear about that all the time, but it's just. But I guess we kind of got on a tangent, but I do see what he's saying, and I think he's gone back and kind of reacted to like some of the criticism on his part, and he was kind of saying yes, it was kind of taken out of context or blah blah blah, and it was an overgeneralization.
Yeah,
he does still think cinema and culture these days do have good redeeming qualities. He talked about Ex Machina, the recent robot movie that has some really good themes about intelligence and humanity and all that kind of stuff.
Sure.
And Mad Max. I haven't seen Mad Max, the new one.
Is it out yet?
It is out. Yeah.
Oh,
it just
okay.
came out
I knew
Friday.
it was recent. I just didn't realize it was out already. Okay.
I haven't seen it yet, but it's he mentioned it in his blog post about it, that those still have important themes, and those kind of are bucking the trend of his overgeneralization anyway. So yes, I agree that those, at least Ex Machina for sure, because I've seen it, is good. It has those themes, but I still say you can still extrapolate themes from even like the blockbuster movies, like the Avengers, because he specifically mentioned Hulk fighting a robot.
Sure.
There are still important themes. It's not like it's completely dumb, and I don't think a lot of the nerd culture would gravitate to something that was just dumb. There's still some themes.
You have those people that are just like, ooh, hey, Hulk fighting, Iron Man, great, but there are some people who are like, I care more about the story. And I mean, I'm the type of guy where, like, I enjoy comic book movies, sure, they're fun to watch every once in a while, but I like a more in-depth story. That's always been my kind of thing. Like, I like to because, like, I love to play video games that have great stories. Yeah. Because every once in a while I'll play a dumb game where I'm just like, okay, I'll just beat my head against the wall for a couple hours and then be done with it. Mm-hmm. But I love games with long, drawn-out stories. Like, I love, like, Japanese RPGs. Okay. Mm-hmm. That just, fortunately some of those go on for way too freaking long, and there's a point where you're just like, oh, too much story. Games like, like Skyrim and stuff like that. Like, I love story. It was, when I was younger, I hated it because I was like, I have to go make my own story. I'm like, no, I just want to be like reading, like, almost like a manga or like a comic book where it's just like there's just a story and I'm just altering the characters a little bit. I love that kind of stuff.
When you said that, it came like Crash Bandicoot, like that PlayStation game.
Yeah.
I don't know the story on that. Whenever I was a kid, I just, and I bet there was some loose story like, he has to go save someone or something, but I don't remember a story at all. I just played it, and I love that game.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with those types of games. I mean, I absolutely love platformers like that. I mean, I have a blast with them. Yeah, and there's extremely like no story whatsoever, but you're like, who cares? I'm just jumping from platform to platform, trying to find all this stuff.
Yeah, and I want to complete this mission, and it's hard, and I have to run away from this rock. Who cares?
Because for me, what I usually try to do is, since I've been going through my backlog of games, I try to switch between, dumb game, or not necessarily dumb game. You know what I mean?
I understand.
Like not story-driven game, and then I do a story-driven game, and I do a not story-driven game, just to kind of break it up. Because if I keep playing one genre or the other, I always try to break up the genres a little bit. I look at my back catalog, I go, okay, well, I just played a shooter game. Let me go play an RPG. Let me maybe play more of a puzzle oriented game. Let me switch it up so I don't.
Especially after like a dense story driven game, you want something to just calm me back down.
Especially after spending 60, 70 hours playing a game, you're just like, oh, I just want to get this game over with. You're like, oh, but I have to know the rest of the story. You're like, no.
Exactly. Yeah, like Mass Effect and like Fable and things like that, where there's some backstory. Fable, not so much. I've heard that I really like those games, but I've heard that it's not.
So I played the first one. I think I played a little bit of the third one. I think I don't remember if it's the third or second one I played. But they're all right.
Yeah,
I mean,
I like the moral aspects of those games.
For me,
those are my favorite. I like the Mass Effect, the Knights of the Old Republic, and Fable. Like the choices.
I like those things. I wish they did more with them. I wish it wasn't always just good or bad.
I could see that. Yeah, I agree.
Because Yahtzee Crawshaw, he was on the Escapist magazine, Zero Punctuation. Yeah. He put it the best way. He said, I would love the moral system to be like, I'll be a completely good guy, get to the end, and then just screw everybody over. Just be like, oh, hey, guess what? Now I'm an evil, oh, hey, guess what? I just financially ruined everybody. That would be awesome. I would love to be able to do that. Yeah. Because unfortunately, it's like, what I think the issue with those systems is they reward you for either being superly good or superly bad. There's no like, if you kind of be good but also be a certain amount of bad, you don't get any reward for that, or you get less. Like it hinders you, which sucks.
The neutral position, doesn't do much. Yeah,
which from the sounds of it, like a new game that just came out, The Witcher 3. because I ended up getting it because I got a new graphics card, so I ended up getting it for free. I haven't had a chance to play it yet. I'm waiting until I get my new computer before I play that, because that's supposed to be a pretty intensive graphics game.
Real quick, Witcher 3. Conan O'Brien did a gaming video where he played that.
Oh, really?
And it looks really good, and
yeah,
it's
the
funny.
graphics are awesome, and because what it sounded like is because I watched a review video on it, and they're saying like in that world there really isn't necessarily a good or bad. It's just people just struggling, which I think is awesome, because then when it's something like that where it's like your decision isn't necessarily good or bad. It's what do you think is the best situation. That's what it sounded like. I haven't really looked too much into the game. I definitely plan to play it. I mean, I have it. I have a copy of it, so eventually I'll play it. But it sounds like you're not necessarily thinking good or bad. You're thinking what's the better of these options.
For that situation. I agree.
Which I think makes more sense, because you're like, they both may actually end up being bad options. You may have to be like, crap, I either have to kill this guy or that guy, and you're like, all right, well, who's gonna bite me in the ass later, or who
what's the lesser of the two?
You have to think of that. And I think that's more interesting than just either saying just kill guy or not, or help guy. I think that's way more interesting when it's.
That I agree. That to me. I'm trying to think of anything like Mass Effect. It's always was just like a good thing or the bad, like just like opposite ends of the spectrum. Nothing really, or the nothing. Yeah.
It's like the idea of everything's not black and white. There's all sorts of shades of gray in between. You can be either closer to black or you can be closer to white. I mean, it's. I like systems where they kind of find some sort of a balance where it's not necessarily just good or bad. Sometimes you'll have to make a bad decision no matter what. Yeah. You just have to figure out which do I want to be a complete asshole or do I want to be partially asshole? Because unfortunately I have to be an asshole no matter what. Yeah. So I definitely think it's more interesting.
That is interesting. Whenever you do play it, definitely we'll talk about it.
Oh yeah,
I'd like to see the more information about that system, because that is interesting.
It's definitely segue, and perfect time to segue, because I think we're gonna wrap up here pretty shortly. But talk about graphics card. I finally have ordered all the parts to a new computer. I think.
Very nice. Exciting.
I hope I have enough to get it working, because there's the only thing I'm not sure of is the operating system, because I have an old copy of Windows 7. I'm hoping it'll let me install it on another computer. I have no idea. I hope, because I spent like $300 when I got it the first time. So I'm like, I hope it lets me install it on another freaking computer.
Or like if you had the foresight back then to get like the license that had multiple computers.
I mean, because I bought the full version. I didn't buy like an OEM version. And I mean, because when I think of it, if I remember right, like for a while it cost like $100 for like an OEM copy of Windows 7, and I've installed it like 4 or 5 times. So technically, if you look at it that way, it was worth it to buy it. I could install it multiple times. But every time I installed it, most I had ever changed was like maybe like one. I just did one graphics card and the hard drive. I've never actually done an entire complete new computer. So I don't know if then Microsoft's going to go, this is a new computer. You can't install it on another computer. Give me crap. But I don't know. I'll have to wait and see. So that might be the only hiccup that I have. Because I hope I did enough research to figure out that the parts will work. I won't know until I plug it together and go, oh, hey, it doesn't work. And go, oh, crap.
What's wrong?
What did I buy that's wrong? Yeah. But yeah, the rest of the parts, hopefully, they should be here in the mail on Tuesday, I believe. So hopefully within a week, I'll have that up and running. I'll try to make some stupid little video just to give it a test.
Yeah, we'll be doing some tests of some.
Yeah, because that'll definitely be. By the end of summer, I think we'll be definitely 100% good to go, and we'll start making some new content.
Yeah, because in the beginning, it's probably just gonna be smaller scale, just test type stuff, just to see what we can do with your new rig, and then
plus it's I haven't done editing in a while, like nothing fancy. So I mean, it's and I've never really done a lot of artistic stuff. I've always done like pure like news stuff where it's just like hard cuts and some real basic editing. So I mean, it's like I have that knowledge. It's just now it's like, oh great, now I have an infinite canvas. It's like, what do I do with this infinite canvas? So I mean, there'll definitely be a lot of weird little things, and I'm just gonna just specifically make a video just to test something.
Yeah, exactly.
And that'll be it. To see how it looks, and then I'll see if I can try to integrate it. So I mean, there's a lot of stuff I want to learn. It's just it's going to take a while.
Yeah.
So we'll definitely that we will come up with some sort of a plan. We'll definitely try to make more content. I'm undecided if how exactly we'll put it out. I don't know if I'll put it like through, because I definitely plan to do a little bit more stuff with the blog, because because that's kind of the thing. I didn't want to do like tech stuff. I wanted to do mostly video stuff, and now that hopefully I'll have the ability to do so, I'll actually maybe start doing some more blog stuff. Yay!
Yeah. Well,
maybe I should touch it.
All three of us haven't been doing really anything blog. I think we all have ideas of what we want to do, but we just haven't been doing it. So right now it's been just the podcast, but now like you get new equipment and there's more ideas swirling around the Top Pod crew. Then sure. I think good things are coming. How fast they're coming,
we don't know.
And what shape those things are going to be appearing as, we don't know yet. It's all up in the air, literally up in the air.
Work in progress or soon TM. That's like trademark.
But yeah, so that's pretty much the episode.
So Simon Pegg.
Yeah,
take the stick out of your ass, dude. I mean, yes, you do have a point. However, just freaking enjoy it. That's what it's there for.
Yeah,
yes, it does dumb us down a little bit, but so does everything else in our freaking lives.
Yeah, it's true.
Living dumbs us down. That's a cultural. I think it's more of a cultural thing, not necessarily just just our entertainment. You're like, no, everything is dumbing us down.
Yeah, it's just the way humans are doing things these days.
No, I don't hate everything, guys. I know I'm overgeneralizing now, but still,
Nope. He hates everything.
I hate everything. I hate you. I hate you, Jimmy. I hate everybody.
He just on all the YouTube videos, he just downvotes everything. Just
like, oh man, yeah.
He just like is there just with a scowl on his face, just downvoting everything. I knew it.
It's like that's the guy. That's me. I'm the one who downvotes everybody.
Yep. If you ever have any original content, it's Fisher doing it.
It's downvoted.
But yeah. So thinking outside the pod, new things are coming, like we said.
We hope.
For now,
it's a work in progress. It's at least we're starting to take the steps moving forward.
Exactly.
What it's going to turn into, hell if we know.
Yeah,
we'll figure it out as we go along. That's all we can say.
But until then, every Monday there'll be a new episode.
Yeah, we'll still
in some form.
Definitely the podcast will definitely keep going.
And in the podcast, usually at the end, we'll do some type of update about what's happening with that. So definitely, if you haven't followed us on Twitter, our Twitter's almost at 1,500.
Really? All right.
I'm really excited about that.
Growing, yeah.
Our Facebook, not so much. It's still kind of just friends or just direct contact with us. My mom, exactly. Yeah, she likes everything I do. But so follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook, subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's where most of the new content's going to be.
I think more than likely that's where I'll end up putting it. I don't know if I'll make it. I don't know yet if we want to make a separate channel for specific types of videos. We don't know yet. That's we'll probably just end up just kind of posting everything to the main channel for now, and then once we figure out more so how we want to do it, we may segment it off, make a separate channel for certain types of content.
Exactly. Yeah.
Who knows?
That sounds like something that we would probably do. But until then, just follow us, and just stalk us, and just make sure you know everything we're doing at every point in our lives.
Yay.
Just so you'll be in the know, so you know what's happening. But so that's episode 65 of Thinking Outside the Pod. We will see you next week.
All right, later, guys.
Bye. Whoa, wait, before you go, you thought this was over? Nope.
Just when you thought you were done with the guys from Top Pod.
Nope. Episode 65, we got a special segment that we're trying to do as regularly as possible. It's we haven't got a name for it yet.
Yeah,
Patrick's
bad movie picks off Netflix.
Bad picks off Netflix.
Yeah. Patrick's picks off Netflix. This last couple of weeks I've had some doozies, man.
Yeah. So you watch a badly reviewed movie.
I usually go through and I'll watch anything under 3 stars. Every now and then, like it'll look terrible, and I'll click on it, watch play, and then I'll go back and read like the little, the
summary.
Yeah, the summary at the beginning, and I'll realize it has like 4 or 5 stars.
Mm-hmm.
But to not discount, the star thing is fine, but I have seen some really bad 4-star movies.
Yeah.
So I guess it just depends on what you like and what you do. Wolf Cop was rated pretty bad, but it was pretty fucking awesome movie. Mm-hmm. Now this week, I've started watching 2 movies. I've actually saw 3 movies this week. One of them I went back and watched is something that I think you've seen. It was Tusk with Kevin Smith.
Yeah.
that movie was a fucking trip.
It was.
Like-
It's
like-
weird. We've talked about it when when it came out on the podcast. It's weird. It's just weird.
It's very weird. It's
just-
very weird.
that's
And,
the only
like,
thing I can say
really
about
don't
it.
know how I felt about it towards the end. It almost reminded me of a Guillermo del Toro film, but it wasn't that weird.
Yeah,
You know, didn't get
yeah,
that far.
Didn't get that artistic. I
Yeah,
don't think,
yeah, there you go. Maybe not as artistic, but it was definitely maybe as weird.
It's weird, yeah.
I saw that one.
But I liked Tusk because it was about podcasters, so that's
Yeah,
interesting
I
to
thought
see
it
that
was a
world.
great movie. I mean, Kevin Smith, suspense kind of horror suspense film. I think that was a great movie. You know, it's, I don't want to say. I guess we can talk about it a little bit.
It's old, yeah.
The parts where you realize he's done this shit before. That's when it starts getting really fucked up. You're like, oh my god. And then they meet that hunter dude.
Weird guy, yeah.
Yeah, that weird dude that
played
takes
by
him out
Johnny
there.
Depp. Yeah,
That's Johnny Depp.
that's Johnny Depp.
Oh my god, that dude was so fucking.
And
weird.
he's Kevin Smith is making another movie with that character in it as well called Yoga Hosers. It's another one of those like a Canadian horror movie type thing.
Shit.
So
Well, it was a really cool movie. I saw that one. I started watching this one called Dirty Girl, and like I was telling you earlier, it's kind of like a mashup of like every '80s movie like put together,
like cliche,
Yeah,
every
like,
cliche.
like the promiscuous girl in her last year of high school. Just doesn't give a shit. She's just sleeping with everybody.
I saw that movie. I saw it on Netflix.
It's-
like on
it's
the queue.
not bad.
I never,
It's-
but I do like that actress. Well, I forgot her name. Juno.
Acting wise, they
Juno
do
Temple
a
or
good
whatever
job
her
of
name is.
acting.
I like her.
The story's kind of cool so far. She's going to go find her dad in New York. The guy's driving her across town, her gay friend. But then like the gay friend struggles, and then like her, fighting with herself. It's kind of really cliche. You can kind of tell what's about to happen before it happens. But it still has me kind of into it. I probably have about another 30 minutes to watch on it, but I will finish watching that. It's not a bad movie, but it's not a great movie. It's kind of cliche.
Yeah, the cliche and predictable. It's like a certain type of bad, but not.
Yeah, but it's not awful. Now, going down the spectrum here to the next movie, I'm sure you guys noticed this last week or maybe last weekend. They installed a movie. They recently added a movie called Zombievers.
Zombievers.
The cover art of the DVD, I guess, that they have up, the little display art they have on Netflix, it looked interesting. It's this chick in a bikini with like her legs kind of spread open, this beaver running up between them, and then she's got a knife. Like it looks like she's jumping down on the knife. After you see the movie, you realize that's a scene from one of the parts of the movie with one of the main actresses. Zombievers is a no, dude.
Is a no.
Yeah,
I don't watch movies like that. If it looks like it's going to be terrible, I don't watch it. But you were showing me some of it. You were watching the last bit of it. And yes, I'm glad I lived the way that I lived.
Well, after you saw the end and you went and saw the beginning, from the beginning, you can just tell that it's like, okay, this is not going to be. And from the very beginning, right before the intro credits to the fucking movie, I knew this was probably going to be a mistake. I took a little while long. I should have finished watching Dirty Girl probably, but there was a lot of sex and tits and ass and shit in this movie. And I guess that's kind of what keeps you on it for a little while.
I guess I would think they have to put that kind of stuff into those movies because if not, it's ridiculous. Like there's no reason.
It was pretty bad, man. The beavers look like stuffed animals. They're zombie beavers. Okay, let's go and read you the summary real quick.
Yeah,
Zombievers.
I don't understand these movies how they get made, but
group of randy. It's 2.25 stars. A randy group of college kids goes partying in a woodland cabin and gets a nasty surprise when a horde of ferocious zombie beavers attack. Starring Courtney Palm, Rachel Melvin, Lexi Atkins, and directed by Jordan Rubin. This movie was a terrible movie.
Yeah, the thing is with those types of movies, those B movies, they do start careers. Like those are the movies that will cast anybody as long as they look good or something like that. Man, so it will start careers. Like I don't recognize any of those names, but I'm sure one or two of them may go on to bigger things, and this will just be a bad movie in their filmography.
Are you thinking? Just from the start of the movie, the zombie beavers, they have an accident, kind of Toxic Avenger style. Beavers start to transform into these awful undead creatures. They
I saw the creatures. It's like a zombie but with buck teeth. That was
no. That's towards the end, and the whole beginning and the middle. It's just beavers. Just the zombies don't happen until like the end. Okay. They start biting humans and infecting them. But that's
But
ridiculous.
the
as well.
beavers are just like radioactive, mutated
Yeah. So they're
beavers
still
now.
like radioactive,
Really
mutated,
angry.
undead, and they can turn you into an undead.
Does it say why they're angry? Like, why are they killing people now?
No, they're just zombies that are like pissed about everything, I guess.
Oh, okay.
There's a couple scenes that they're just not you can just tell that it's like, as a person that shot films or not films but like shot stuff, you know. At some point I expected the director to say like, cut, this is not cool. What the fuck are we doing?
I have to assume that most of those filmmakers know what they're doing. They're just they know that what they're doing is not gonna be regarded as like the best filmmaking possible. They're just
it's not the shot selection. The shot selection is cool. It's the composition of the shot. What's going on in the shot, the action. For example, there's this one scene where they're locked up in this cabin, and the zombies start breaking through windows, and they have them kind of boarded up, but the zombies chew through the wood that they used to board the windows up with.
Of course,
because they're beavers.
Yeah.
So they got some spots where they're coming in, and they cut to one scene, and this guy's got a bat, and he's like stabbing at them with the bat, and the beavers are this stuffed animal, and it's like it's getting hit, and it doesn't really look like much. So then they cut to the scene with these two girls, and both girls are like looking away and just like stabbing with this knife. And there's this beaver holding this whole that just he's shaking like he's just being stabbed so hard, but like the knife's missing him half the time. You can see like the knife not hitting him.
Yeah. Oh god.
So it's like, oh shit, And as a director, I'd be like, wait a minute, we got to do something about this. Okay, first scene. The second scene. Oh no, that was the second scene. The first scene is earlier on. One of the cabin kids, he gets into an accident. Loses a foot. So cut to a few scenes later, and he's seen running out of the water with both feet. It's like, okay. And then later on they cut back, and that chick still has his foot in a bag. It's like, okay, no.
Yeah. I don't know.
The last scene, very last scene, is they start popping up in the floorboards, and it turned into a game of whack-a-mole with zombies.
Yeah, you were saying
that
ridiculous.
Was the fucking point where I was like really, really I've only stopped watching one movie, and that was Pirates, and it's about these Chinese or Japanese Oriental style pirates. I could not get into it. The action was cool, but I hated reading the subtitles and trying to read and watch.
I don't mind subtitles. Yeah.
Plus, it was kind of stupid, man. It really was kind of boring. But
yeah.
But this one, I really just should have cut it out. I really wouldn't have watched the end unless you watched it with me.
Yeah, I don't know. You gotta, because beginning filmmakers, that's the stuff that they do. That's like when you can't get a job at like A-list Hollywood movie, you go for the B movies, or the
B movies,
C, D, F movies.
This is awful.
And
actually, Wolf Cop's got 5-star rating too.
Wolf Cop, like that Cinecoop film challenge, that won that last year. So it had a lot of social media following and stuff like that. And they had a lot of feedback from the audience, so I can understand why that is getting. It's one of those movies that
it
like
kind of reminds me of
it's
like
a lower budget, but
yeah.
it's still had a lot of heart or
it's
whatever.
It's kind of like a Rob Zombie kind of film, you know what I mean? Where like the shots, they like cut to different color shots, you know what I mean? They've got a lot of jump cuts, a lot of like shake shots, but not overdo too much of it. The whole movie's pretty much shot the standardly, and then when they get to action, that's when it starts getting a little wild, and it works, I think, for it.
Yeah.
Plus the story is ridiculous, but it is pretty fucking cool.
Okay, so Zombievers, no,
man. If you
skip
guys
it.
can avoid Zombievers, skip the fuck out of that.
I mean,
show.
it does have that draw of like attractive girls.
Yeah.
So at
girls
least
in bikinis,
like that.
One of them goes topless a couple times in it. The other one was wearing like these cheeky shorts.
There's that.
A couple scenes
So
of them doing it a couple
mute
different
it.
times.
Fast forward to those parts if you want to get to those parts. But you have the internet. Just go.
Oh, I told you one of the flaws in the story. I was telling you also.
Oh, there's story flaws.
Towards the end, they find out zombievers get in trouble. You turn if you get bitten by a zombiever. So they figure that out, and once they figure that out, they go right into a bathroom. This girl and this guy.
Okay, this is the scene I saw. Yeah.
Yeah, and the girl makes the guy strip down so she can make sure that he's not bitten by a zombiever. Then the guy does the same to the girl, and then before you know it, both of them are naked and doing it on the sink while the house is catching fire that the zombiever started.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, And then the sound, like, I guess beavers pat their tails on the ground when they're, like, to threaten people or to intimidate stuff.
I think I've read something about that.
That was kind of weird.
Yeah, I think they do that to, like, bring up fish or something, or, like, to attract fish or
Oh,
something.
they're
They
smacking
pat
it like on the floor, on the ground.
they pat on the water for like fish or something, but I guess they will do that on land too.
Yeah,
I don't know.
That part was really weird.
I'm not sure.
So Zombievers is a no, man. If you can skip it, skip it. Find you guys something else. Watch Wolf Cop again. That's probably what I'm going to go back and do.
What's up next? What do you got in the pipeline?
Up next,
The
I've got the
sewage
movie
pipeline.
The Hybrid.
The Hybrid.
It's starring John Lynch, Morjana Alaoui. I'm sorry, I probably ruined that. Craig Conway, and is directed by Billy O'Brien.
Okay.
It was made in 2004, not rated, 94 minutes. It's a 1 2/3 star.
Okay.
An elite team. It's called The Hybrid again. An elite team of mercenaries on a covert mission to infiltrate an underground laboratory in a former Soviet state to recover a genetic mutation.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds about B-movie terrible. That's a summary for every like terrible. They go into a secret lab and there's mutated things. Okay.
Oh yeah, I told you guys about the Alien Uprising movie too, right? I was going to try to watch that one also.
Yeah.
I believe I've started watching it. I may have started watching it. I may have had to turn it off. This may be another one of those. It's got 1 1/3 star.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Alien Uprising, made in 2012, it's rated R. It says one night, 5 friends are out drinking. The next day, they're struggling to survive in a landscape controlled by an alien invaders in this sci-fi thriller.
Yeah. Those are like those movies that they see like a movie like coming out that's like big budget, and then they just go in real quick and try to just
put one out.
Just put one out just to catch on to that trend. Yeah, well, good luck with those. We'll hear about them. We'll hear about them next week. Hybrid
and the Hybrid. Yeah,
so,
next week I'll have a little bit more about those. Yeah.
Well, I guess if you want to watch those and see what we think about them next time, maybe I'll watch Hybrid. Maybe
if you guys want to watch Zombievers, you can go to our Facebook and our Twitter and have it out with me about why this movie's
it was a masterpiece.
Yeah, to tell me why Zombievers was such a great movie. I'll be more than happy to go back and forth with you about why that shitty sucks. It should never be on the screen.
But yeah, so that's another segment of the
Patrick's bad picks for Netflix or something like that at the moment.
Patrick's. Yeah, we'll hit us
up on Facebook.
If you got a title for
Twitter,
it.
Help us name it. Shit.
Yeah.
Hashtag Todpot.
Yep, exactly. And so, this is kind of like a bonus segment on the end of the episode. So, like before, follow us on Facebook, or like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Check out the website.
I've been trying to get us on that Meerkat program or Periscope, something like that. So maybe
some live
down
streaming.
The line we can. I wanted to bring up a little bit of that, and me and Jimmy hopefully be working on some videos soon. I'm gonna try to get onto that. Other than that, you guys,
we'll hear from us next week.
Of course.
Bye.